In the English countryside of West Yorkshire, two girls would take a series of incredible photographs that would capture the world's imagination, leading many to believe in the existence of fairies. In the summer of 1917, 9-year-old Frances Griffiths, along with her mother, arrived from South Africa to stay with Uncle Arthur, their Aunt Polly, and her cousin, 16-year-old Elsie Wright, at a village known as Cottingley. The girls became great friends and played together daily in their English garden, but they were continually warned by their parents to stay away from the stream. One day in July, Frances fell in the brook, but as she was being scolded for not listening to her aunt, she proclaimed, "I was playing with the fairies." Their mothers scoffed in disbelief until Elsie said that she had seen them too, and the girls set out to prove that fairies exist. Elsie asked her father if she could borrow his camera, and the following day the girls hurried down to the garden. Less than an hour later they returned, asking him to develop the plates and eager to see what they had captured. As he developed the negatives, he was surprised to see 4 strange shapes around Frances. At first he thought they were birds, and then asked, "What are these bits of paper in the photograph?" "They are fairies." Later that summer, Elsie asked if she could borrow her father's camera once again. A bit amused, he agreed. This time when her father developed the photograph, he was taken aback as the image depicted Elsie playing with a gnome-like fairy. Irritated, Arthur questioned the girls on the matter, but they insisted they had done nothing to deceive him and that the photos were real. As punishment for what he perceived to be a childish prank, he forbade them from using his camera. But the parents were baffled by their claims. Elsie and Frances had always been honest and trustworthy, not prone to lying. The parents scoured the area near the stream, trying to find any incriminating evidence of a possible hoax. Yet they couldn't find anything. No scissors, no clippings, and no evidence of trickery. Summer passed and the incident was nearly forgotten, until over a year later when Elsie's mother Polly attended a spiritualist meeting. The speaker's talk revolved around fairy life, and after the lecture, Polly brought up her daughter's experience to the group. The photographs made their way into the hands of Edward Gardner, a prominent advocate of the supernatural. Gardner took a special interest in the story and quickly sent the images to photographic expert Harold Snelling, who proclaimed the photographs to be authentic. The mysterious images soon came to the attention of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, author of the Sherlock Holmes mysteries. Upon examining the figures, Sir Arthur was convinced that supernatural fairies existed. And in August of 1920, at Doyle's urging, Gardner traveled to Cottingley to meet with Elsie and her family. He interviewed them extensively and decided that the only way to determine the truth would be if they could produce additional photographs. They even invited Frances back to Cottingley for 2 weeks. Gardner provided the girls with special cameras and secretly marked plates so he could detect tampering. They waited patiently for the girls to produce more startling images. Unfortunately, it rained for the entire 2 weeks, making it impossible for Frances and Elsie to capture quality photographs. Early one evening, however, the rain stopped. The girls darted outside, rushing towards the creek. Arthur and his wife sat anxiously. Soon, the girls pranced back into the cottage, pronouncing gleefully that they had captured 3 more photographs. The plates were immediately sent to Gardner to analyze, and he was astounded by what he saw. One image showed Frances glancing at a leaping fairy. Another had Elsie staring at a fairy that was offering her a flower. The final photograph depicted a group of fairies prancing in the grass. Upon hearing this news, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle was elated. His article in the December 1920 edition of the Strand magazine, which featured the girls' photographs, sold out within days as the story of the Cottingley Fairies quickly spread around the world. Doyle emphasized that children without any photographic experience couldn't possibly deceive the professionals. Soon, reporters and tourists swarmed into Cottingley, eager to inquire about the girls and glimpse the stream where the fairies were said to roam. But all of this notoriety embarrassed the girls, and they soon withdrew from the public eye. Enthusiasm about the Cottingley Fairies ebbed and flowed over time. In 1945, Edward Gardner published a book that would rekindle interest in the story. And in 1966, a newspaper located Elsie, who said that the fairies might have been figments of my imagination. But finally, in the early 1980s, after being interviewed for the magazine The Unexplained, the women admitted that the photographs had been faked. In her youth, Elsie was a talented artist and would often sketch fairies, tracing drawings from Princess Mary's gift book. Their hoax had been carried out by using paper cutouts made to stand up with hat pins. Elsie maintained that it was clearly a joke from the beginning and had assumed that everyone else would think so too, until things had been taken too far. Yet Frances would insist that even though the pictures were fake, there were still real fairies at Cottingley. Frances even claimed that she took the fifth and final picture herself, which was actually of real fairies. But Elsie said she remembered taking that picture, not Frances, and putting up the cutout fairies seen in the photograph. The two never agreed on the final truth before they passed away, taking the real tale of the Cottingley Fairies with them. But perhaps their greatest hoax was their confession, and they were telling the truth all along.